Dan Bublitz Comedy Productions.
My friend Dan, he's got a podcast, 'cause all comics need a podcast, and nobody had a podcast called The Art of Bombing. So Dan went out and bought a tape deck. Who knows why he bought a tape deck? Podcasts don't get played on tape decks, but Dan is from the 80s. So hey there, all you funny jerks, come talk to Dan about your work. Tell him all about your worst times. It's The Art of Bombing. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Art of Bombing podcast. I'm your host, Dan Bublitz Jr., and with me, as always, is my co-host, co-producer, and cohort, Josh Shirley. Mr. Josh Shirley. How's it going, Josh?
I used to think that you sang that song.
The Art of Bombing song?
Yeah.
Oh, if only.
Because I think it's like if you sang, that could be your voice.
You think so? Well, that's... Yeah. I don't know if that's a compliment to me or an insult to my friend who does sing this song.
No, it's a great song. I've always loved it.
It is. It's one of my favorite.
I could hear like your voice, key, tonality, all that could do it if you. I don't know if you have a singing voice or not, but if
I don't know. I know I've tried. I try to sing. I do some karaoke now and again. I don't know that I'd say I have a singing voice. I have a voice that attempts to sing.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it. Now I'm curious. Now maybe I should write out the lyrics and do it. But yeah, for those listening, I agree with you. That is a fantastic theme song. It's one of my favorite podcast theme songs, not just because it's for this podcast, but because it's very catchy. Like, yeah. I like it. You know, Dan is from the 80s. So he went out and bought a tape deck, you know.
Yeah, who knows why? Who knows why? You know what? They just heard it. But what they haven't heard is Jared Chandler. No,
because that's what's coming up on this week's episode.
That's right. A lot of good stuff from this. Like I feel like it's a chunky one in time, but it's definitely jam-packed full of good things for people. And we'll talk about this when we get to the callbacks episode, but
this week, on Thursday.
Specifically, yeah, just some great ways to stretch yourself as a comedian. And he does a naked show.
I just love the way your facial expression as you said it was priceless. Right. If you're listening to this on the audio waves, we do put this out on YouTube now as well. You may want to actually go watch the YouTube clip for just at least that part of it, because that was your expression was pretty funny.
I've done a naked show before.
You've done a naked show?
Not a naked comedy show. I mean, it was definitely funny to people.
I've done a naked show. Not that kind though.
Oh, okay.
See what I did there?
I did. I thought you were with me for a second, and then I'm like, no, you weren't. I have performance background, and I did a play in Philadelphia, and like part of it was like a serious drama.
Oh,
and like I was, yeah, there was some nudity in it.
Oh, wow.
And it was fine, you know, but there was only one night where I felt like somebody decided, like the girls at work were all going to go see this play and like not tell one of them what was in it. And like, so definitely heard some freaking out from someone who had no idea what was about to happen in this play. And it felt like, prepared. Yeah, like, so we were all like, oh, we're working at Chippendales tonight, man. This is freaking weird. And that was weird, but it was fine.
Ooh, that's funny. I personally, seriously though, have not done a naked show of any sort. I have definitely taken off my shirt on stage and did that kind of thing at a couple rowdy bar shows. And just for the record, this was before Bert Kreischer was doing the shirt thing, before it was his thing. But people are like, oh, you're hacking another comic. No, did it before.
You.
Yeah, maybe. No, probably not. More than one person can have the same ideas. We've learned that. But I don't think I could do a fully nude show either. Like, to me, I don't know. I just don't know if I'm comfortable enough. Like, I could get all the way down into my boxers,
Sure.
and that's fine. But I don't think I could get fully nude.
Yeah.
But
It's not me, not now.
no, I don't have nobody wants to see me fully nude trying to do
Dude,
jokes.
this is weird. It would definitely quiet the room down. Like
Yeah.
if you had a rowdy crowd and you're like, I'm taking clothes off until you guys start paying attention to the show. Like maybe that's the move.
Well, and that's exactly in the instances where I did it. That's kind of what happened. The room was getting real rowdy, and that's where I started taking off,
I'll bet that
taking
got
off
him
my shirt. It did get him, and I
Yeah.
got a bunch of tips doing it
under
too.
control. I don't know what you did, Dan, but man, you turned this room into one gel formation of comedy listeners. Whatever you did, basically threatening.
Yes, I threatened to take off my clothes, and they were like, "Here, take this money, keep them on. We'll pay attention now." Because I feel like, even though if I was performing at a nude show and the audience knows it's a nude show, as soon as I start getting nude, that's going to be that same. We're going to get the same reaction as you did at that play with the unexpected people. They're going to be like, I wasn't expecting quite that much nudity. All right, that's enough of me making fun of myself, because people are going to be like, Dan, you're a lovely person. Quit being so down on yourself.
Yeah, those bastards
I know.
trying to
Nice people.
fix you.
Anyway, yeah, so we got a great episode today. Before we get into this episode, if you're listening to it on the day it comes out, I will be at Loveland Ale Works tomorrow, Wednesday, October 4th. You can catch me there doing a show. So if you're in the Loveland area, come hang out at the show. Otherwise, another big show I have coming out, if you listen to this, in October 14th, I will be in Pueblo, Colorado at the Pueblo Memorial Hall for the Pueblo Cooperative Cares fundraiser. It's a big fundraiser where they're raising money for their nonprofit, and their nonprofit, they do a bunch of different things in that county, from providing clothes to sanitary products to food to, all kinds of things that they're doing for members of their community across the community. So yeah, if you're in Pueblo or know people in Pueblo, tell them to get tickets to that show. It's a fundraiser. It's for a good cause. And you can go to pueblomemorialhall.com to get those tickets. So that's all I got coming up. What about you? You got anything? Are we ready to rock? We got the tape in the tape deck. Are we ready to shut it and
press play? Shut it in and press play.
All right. I'm hitting play. Here's our conversation with Jared. Enjoy.
It's the art of bombing.
So it looked like you had a show last night, but was it like a sketch show or something?
It was a ABC show. It was an Anything But Clothes show.
Anything? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything but clothes.
Yep. It was at the Enigma Bazaar that Trey Blue hosts and produces, or Julia Foodman hosted it, and Trey Blue produces it. And it was their 1-year show last night.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you make like an outfit out of like anything but clothes is the rules, and like you go up and you do a set, and at any point if the host feels like you're not like a joke didn't land very well, then the host will like tap a cup with a spoon and you have to strip.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can lose some clothes.
Exactly. Yeah. So like a lot of like you start out with your outfit and then you end up like mostly in your underwear, basically.
Oh.
So it was a lot of fun.
But you don't have to be totally naked.
Don't have to be totally naked.
Okay.
No.
Because I know there's shows like that where that's the whole thing, is to perform naked. I don't know if I could do it.
I don't know. Like after doing that show last night, I might be able to do a totally naked show, but I don't know. It was fun. I was a lot more comfortable than I thought I was going to be. I loved my outfit. I put a lot of work into it.
So when you put the outfit together, do you also put a set like specific to whatever you're wearing, or is it just you do your regular set, but you're just in a costume, essentially.
You do your regular sets. You don't have to do like a character or anything like that. But I came up with like a couple of different riffs just like based on the outfit, you know? So like I had like this, it was made out of pizza boxes. And so I was wearing like almost like a Roman soldier type outfit. Yep. So like I had like strips cut into like a skirt and then like two pizza boxes for a breastplate. And then I made a helmet with a little headpiece on it. And the headpiece like came out, so like I took that out, and then like that was the first thing to go when she tapped the cup. So then I gave it to someone in the audience. I was like, "Who wants this? Huh? Who wants the headpiece? This is actually a gag that I use. That's been in my mouth before, you know, like just having fun, just keeping it loose." Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a fun show.
It was super.
I like some of the different theme shows like that. It's fun to change it up a little bit.
Yeah. And then on Friday I did a set swap show.
Oh, those are always fun.
Yeah. It was my first time doing one, and it was a hoot.
Where was that show at?
It was at Wide Right, and I swapped sets with Bailey Tyler, and it was just a lot of fun. It was cool to like get a different perspective on your own set because they do it like kind of a different version of it. And then it was also interesting to like step inside the shoes of another comedian and like kind of look at their structure and learn how their cadence works and stuff. So it was actually a pretty neat learning experience.
That's
as well.
interesting. So how did you prepare for that? Like, because unless you know the comedian very well, obviously you got to go do some research.
Right.
Did you go watch like some of their videos?
Yeah, she sent me like a bunch of material, and I did the same. Like we just kind of like I showed like my YouTube channel and like just like a set list and audio recording, and she was very nice to like give me some text like written out. So and I'm a reading kind of learner, you know, so that was very helpful for me. I was gonna send her more of my notes and like written out jokes, but I have this bad habit of like as I'm starting to type it out, I kind of branch off because like I have a thought and then I never go back and like edit or anything like that. So like my jokes in Google Docs is like not the same as what I perform on stage. So it's always like kind of changing a lot. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I didn't send that to her to avoid confusion, but I gave her lots of videos. So yeah.
Yeah. How'd that show go?
It was good. It was really fun. Michael Isaacs and Phil Corridor swap sets, and that was hilarious. It's a cool show because like I could tell like Sean was trying to pick comics with like varying styles, like very different styles, so that when you swap sets, like seeing Phil Corridor do Michael Isaac's set and vice versa, it was just very funny. So yeah, we had a lot of fun, and then Dead Room was after that. So it was just a fun night.
Oh, that sounds like it. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's those are always, like I said, those kind of shows are always interesting, and it is fun to see that. Did you get to pick who you swapped with, or do they just randomly choose?
I gave some suggestions of people, and then Sean was like, "How about Bailey Tyler?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sounds fun."
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So you had a little bit of say in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would definitely do it again. Probably.
Oh, for
too.
sure.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun just to have it random too, where you don't, because
you just don't know.
No, I mean you have to know obviously, but you don't get to pick. We're like,
oh yeah,
they just randomly choose somebody to two people, and then they're the ones swapping.
Yeah, that's how. Like with roast battle, I feel like you need to. It's a lot better of a show if like you kind of know each other a little bit better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like this though, you can do your research, so that definitely helps. And I think because it would definitely make it a little more challenging, because it's like if you don't know the person very well, you really have to do that research.
Right. Yeah, you got to put in some work. You got to do some homework.
Yeah, got to do that homework.
Yeah, and sometimes that's fun too, just like the preparation of it, like for roast battles and stuff, like the researching, and like you get to ask them questions a little bit about their life, and you get to know them a little bit better too, and then you just go up and roast each other and have a good time.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the roast battles?
Dude, I am. They're so fun. Dude, have you been to one yet?
I have been. Yeah, I believe I was at one. Yeah, I went to. I didn't stay for the whole show because the person I was with. It's late. There's that too. But I didn't drive, and the person that I went with, who drove, was on it, and then they didn't want to stay for the rest of the night. So,
gotcha.
So I had to go because they were ready to leave.
Yeah, no, I feel you. But
yes, they are late.
Was it a pretty packed house when you went?
There was a few people. I don't think it was like super packed. I mean, I don't remember. It's been a couple months ago.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't like terribly long ago. A couple months ago, probably. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, some of those shows, like, they pack the house and it gets rowdy. It gets so rowdy. Like, I've been on a handful of them, and that's fun to be a part of. Like, it's fun to roast, and, like, especially when it's a full room like that. I got better for sure. Like, I used to be so bad.
I'm not good at that. Like,
No.
I'm not good at roasting. I don't like. I like watching them. I'll go watch a roast battle, and it's fun. I would maybe love. I think I would have more fun being on the judges panel.
Oh, sure.
Than roasting somebody.
Yeah.
But they are fun to watch. Not a fan of. I'm too nice is my problem. And,
Same.
And sometimes you have to.
I'm a little sweet boy.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I've always found that. To really get the deep cuts, like you have to get a little personal and a little mean.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, you still want to make sure you're not just being a complete, asshole or whatever, but still.
Yeah. You're still telling jokes. You're still like doing it with like good intentions, because you admire the person, hopefully. But
right.
But no, like when I did like 3 and I lost like 3 in a row, and then
and they kept letting you come back.
Oh yeah, dude, of course. Austin's like, come back, keep coming, we just want people to do it.
Keep coming and getting your feelings hurt.
Yeah, but it was kind of like a boxing moment or something like that, where you go back and you sulk for a little bit, and then you're running on the streets of Philadelphia, and you're just like, you're Rocky, and then you just like you get your wits back, and then I won the next 2 in a row after that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you just learn kind of like some of the tricks and like some of the format that works well in a roast battle, and then you don't have to be necessarily like super mean. You can just say something clever that's like you're saying something mean, but you're not saying it directly. You're saying it like with a turn of phrase or something like that, and it makes it like people say, "Oh, I see what you did there," and then it gets a big laugh.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. What's your process for writing roast jokes?
My process for writing roast jokes is probably similar to the way I write anything, which is like gather a bunch of material and then just start cooking. Like just start like, he looks like this, he looks like that, and then get like as many of those pumped out as possible. I ask for people's advice. Like I am not afraid to say that. Like I'll like be like, hey, what is this guy? First impressions of this guy, right off the dome. And then I'll use that as material as well as like material fodder. And then I'll just kind of break it down, like highlight the ones that are the best. And then like, cause you only need like 5 or 3, really. Well, it's 3 jokes in the main part, and then you might go into overtime.
Yeah. So you want to have a couple on standby.
Yeah, you want to have those on deck for sure. And then you just pick your best 5 and then tweak them up a little bit to make them better, and then you just take them to the stage, see what happens. Yeah.
Do you ever, like, when you're preparing for a roast battle, do you ever go like to an open mic and you're like, hey, I'm gonna tell some jokes, they're for a roast kind of thing? Or like
not really. No.
Because I know some bigger comedians, and of course that isn't necessarily for roast battles that they do it. It's more of when they're doing like actual roasts. Like of celebrities, they'll take that set and run it in front of an audience.
Yeah, no, if it was more important, then I would definitely put a little bit more preparation into it. But like, I try to treat those shows like I did Dead Room on Friday, and every time I've done Dead Room, I have been very bad at it.
Okay, so what's Dead Room exactly?
Okay, yeah. So for people who don't know, Dead Room is a show in Denver hosted by Dead Room Comedy. So like Jeff Stonick and Kelsey Wood are the hosts right now, and it's where it's a late night show, and the audience tries their hardest not to laugh.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So like picture like, so you might have like 20 people. They all get a minute, and then you go up there and do. Like people do jokes, but people do crazy things as well.
So basically, the whole object is to get the audience to laugh. Like
Yes.
that's what you're trying to do.
Yes, because they count. Like they say, who laughed, and everyone raises their hand who laughed, and they just count, and then they write a number on the board, so you can see how many people like did well and did not. And it's like every time I've done it, it's been a humiliating experience. But like honestly, it's just for the love of the game, and so. But I try not to take it too seriously.
So you only get a minute.
You only get a minute on the first. So there's 3 rounds.
Oh, there's 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you do 1 minute, and then we go through everybody, and then they pick like a handful of people who did the best. Second round, 1 minute. Third round, 30 seconds.
Oh man.
Yeah. So like, even if you do okay the first round, you still got to repeat those results 2 more times to
and you
win.
got to probably use different material.
Different material or
yeah,
different
I'm
something.
I'm sure there's I'm sure there's some standards or parameters that you have to follow throughout the show.
What do you mean?
Well, as far as like not repeating material, because I think
Sure.
I mean because
It
I feel
definitely
like
wouldn't do well.
I feel like well it might if it's a good joke and it can get people to laugh.
Maybe.
but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
or maybe if you're doing like an alty thing where that's the whole idea.
yeah, honestly, there's a lot of alty things that happen like at the Dead Room. Like I've been to fewer of those than roast battles, but I've seen people light themselves on fire. I've seen people like throw themselves into the wall, like some gross things that you probably don't want me to talk about. But it's wild, dude. Like things get really weird. So that's what I did. I just did an alty thing. Like on Friday I was like, I have one idea, and I wasn't even planning on doing it. And I was like, so we went to the set swap show. And we had like an hour before Dead Room started. And I was sitting there with my friends, and I was like, I don't know, like maybe we should stay, maybe we'll go home. And then all of a sudden, like some friends from college I hadn't seen in forever, like walk in the door, and I go like, whoa, like my mind is blown, and I'm like, well, now I have to stay, and now I'm doing my thing. So I bring like this big red chair that they have at Wide Right. I bring that on stage, and then I take my shirt off, and then I start like. Yeah.
I bring the big red chair on stage. I take my shirt off. This does not sound like comedy at all.
No, it was like the idea was I'm just gonna go up there and like I'm wearing like this outfit that I would wear like at home, like comfy like lounge attire, and then I start smearing a bagel like. Like just super weird alty stuff, and then I'm like I'll probably tell one joke, and I got like halfway through a premise and got before my time was up, and then I just unpacked, tore down my little set that I created, and I got 8 laughs, and I was probably in last place the entire show. And then I flip off the audience as I leave, because I'm just like I'm trying not to take it too seriously, because if you do, then it just stings so bad. Yeah, because it's like I know I'm funny, right? Like I've been doing this for a minute.
Well, and it's tough when I mean that's the challenge too. Like it's one thing. It's different if you go up and tell jokes and don't get laughs just naturally, right? But in a situation like that, you can't take that personal, because the whole point of the show is that the audience is supposed to not laugh. Like they're actively trying not to laugh.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah. Especially if you go like, and I've learned this, like, so I went like second, and if you go deeper in the list, then the audience gets drunker and
they get a little looser.
They get a little looser. Their walls come down a little bit more, so you're more likely to get more laughs, I think. I don't know. I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about, and
but I have no clue.
Yeah, other comics might listen to this and be like, Jerry doesn't know anything, dude. Like he's barely been there. But this is just my experience, and I used to take it a little bit personally, like, and that's like roast battles and Dead Room, and then I would come back from that just feeling like so much embarrassment, and then I'm like, well, maybe I can just like loosen up a little bit, give less cares, and then just be like, and then just have fun, and then it's just part of the game. At least I was there, you know. At least I participated and like contributed a little bit, and it's a lot more fun in that way.
Yeah.
So
and I feel like especially shows like that, you know, not having it or taking it personal and just trying to have more fun with it is the way to go.
That's the move. Yeah,
it is the move, because you just because then you're also going to put more into it. Even if it fails, you're still going to go, you know, put more energy being ridiculous or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, dude. And I took that with me to the ABC show. I was like, let's just stay loose. Like, let's just have fun and like not feel weird about it at all. And like, probably I had a decent set. Like, it was fun. Like, you know, like it was just, and I feel like that carries over and translates well into like normal stand up. It's like, just the more like you go up there prepared to bomb, then like the more like you're less likely, I think, to do so,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I wasn't there, but it looked like a fun show. I seen a lot of people posting pictures about it. So I was like, oh, that looks fun. What is this?
Yeah, it's a good time.
And it's like, that's the one thing about comedy and just entertainment in general that I find a little frustrating. It's like you want to go support, but if you're good at what you're doing, you don't have time to support because you're on a show somewhere else.
Oh, totally.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's so much stuff that I want to go to, but sometimes you gotta make choices. Like,
well, and I mean, hopefully you're always choosing the choice of if you have an opportunity to perform. As long as you're not putting yourself out, that's the choice you're making.
Yeah. No, like if I'm being offered a spot, then it's like that takes priority, obviously.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But there's some shows where it's like, oh, I wish I spent more time like at X, Y, and Z show that I enjoy going to. But sometimes like you can't burn the candle at both ends for too long, or else it's like you can't do anything. So there's some nights where you're just like, it's probably wiser. I have other things coming up, so it's probably wiser for me to just like take it easy tonight.
Oh, for sure. And I do that all the time with open. Like I don't go to a ton of open mics, and not. I don't have anything against them. It's not like I'm not one of them people, because I've met comics who are like, well, I don't need an open mic. I've been doing comedy 20 years. Blah, or whatever. It's like that's not my attitude on it. My attitude is, well, I do enough shows where, I don't need to be at every open mic, because it's nice to just like, oh, I have all these things coming up. I'll just stay home and relax.
Right. Yeah. You're still working. Like you're still getting out there. Like that's kind of the goal anyway.
Exactly.
To be able to like you got stuff lined up, and you don't need to go to an open mic unless you're preparing for something,
Exactly.
And if you're already set with like you got your set, you feel good about it, and you feel good about the show, then go up there and rip,
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. No, it's always, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Not so much going to the open mics. They're not always a good time.
Sometimes they're a grind. Sometimes they are a grind. And that's why I've been a little bit more choosy with the mics that I go to now. Yeah. I think Wide Ride's like one of my favorites. I think that's like kind of like my home mic in Denver. Because I like going to that one.
I've only been there like once or twice to that mic anyway. And it's because that's the other thing too. Like I know I don't live that far from Denver, but I'm one of these old people where
you're a decent ways away.
Where I'm like, oh man, if I have to go, then I have to look for parking and I have to do all these things that frustrate me. I'll just stay home.
You know what?
I can easily talk my things out of doing things.
Yeah. The more I think about it, you're right, Dan. I should stay home today. Good point, Dan.
Yeah. That's my inner monologue. If you go, you're gonna have to find parking. It's downtown. It's a pain in the ass. You're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to do.
You're gonna have to talk to people.
You're gonna have to socialize. That actually, for me, is the toughest part. Going into those situations, because I'll admit it, I'm awkward, and I'm sure sometimes people find me maybe standoffish or arrogant maybe in a way, but it's not that I'm being that. It's just like, because I'll like sit in the corner by myself or whatever.
Sure.
If I know somebody there, I'll say hi and whatever. It depends on how well I know a person.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'll just hang with myself.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm, think I'm better than anybody. It's just like, I don't know how to talk to people.
Yeah, I get you. I can relate to that.
I'm going to sit in the corner.
Yeah, no, I can totally relate to that. Like I would consider myself more of like an extroverted introvert. Whereas like I like being around people, but I have to be charged up before I can do it. But I've kind of been challenging myself to like step out of that a little bit more, because like I'm the same way a lot of the times. But I've found that like, especially at a mic, if I'm by myself and I'm just waiting to go up on stage, or I'm not really socializing, then I get kind of grumpy, because I'm just like just like brewing and stewing, like wait,
because you're just waiting for your spot. You're like, when is it my turn?
Yeah, exactly. When does Jared get to tell jokes? And then I go
Why
up
do
there.
I have to wait?
Yeah. And then I go up there and then I don't do as well. But like if I find like a buddy of mine that like I enjoy talking to, and they feed me energy and I feed it back, then I feel so much better, and I straighten up a little bit, and I go out and I have like a much more looser set and a lot more fun. So I try to challenge myself I float. Like I go and that's why I like Wide Right, because like I can be at the bar, I can be in the audience, I can be in the side table, or I can go outside.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of options for different spaces.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, other mics are not like that. They're kind of a grind, and it's like I feel awkward sometimes, and I don't know where to stand, especially as a tall boy. Like I feel like I'm always in the way. I gotta watch my elbows because if I turn too fast, I'm gonna check somebody really hard, and that has happened a bunch of times. So
like more times than I care to admit.
Yes, that I care to explain. Yeah,
that definitely can happen.
Just take my word for it. It happens. So if I hit you with my elbow at any point, I'm sorry. Like I'm working on it.
I'm trying to keep them in.
Trying to keep my limbs together. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. As far as the bar goes, though, I really like Wide Right. It's a cool.
It's awesome.
Hanging spot too.
Yeah, it's
Their
one of my
food's pretty
favorites
good,
for
too.
sure. Oh, it's so good. We eat there so much, dude. Like my girlfriend and I have been going to a lot of shows at Wide Right recently, and we cannot get enough of like the mango habanero wings. And they change their menu up sometimes. So like they have like a garbage plate, which is like fries and like green chili and beef and like all this good stuff. Oh man,
wow, that sounds amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last time I was there, I had their pizza roll things.
Oh yeah, the pizza logs.
Pizza logs.
Yeah, dude,
they're so good.
Oh, those go hard. Yeah. What's your favorite snack?
My favorite
when you
snack,
you come home from a show, you're like, let me dip into something real quick before I go to bed.
Oh, probably like chips and salsa, or just like chips, something quick, something easy. I don't want to come home and like make a snack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be quick.
I hear that. Yeah,
because a lot of times that's what I'll do. Like post show, I'll stop if especially if I have a drive. Like last night, for example, I was at the Bug Theater, did shows there, and then I had that hour drive back. And I haven't performed like a whole weekend in a long time. It's been like a Friday or a Saturday, but like a whole weekend of shows in one venue, and I forgot how exhausting that can be.
Oh yeah. What was
By
the show?
End of the night, Zoltan Cassis. He's a comic. Well, now he's in New York, but he's from San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a whole weekend?
Oh yeah, he sold out 5 shows.
No way.
Yeah, dude, he's got a huge following. Like,
that's so cool.
He did really well on like Dry Bar and some other viral videos and stuff like that. So
nice.
And then he's just been able to leverage that with doing his own marketing. So
that's cool.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Were you producing it or was
No. It was his own self-produced. He rented the theater. He did all his own marketing. He sold all his own tickets.
Oh wow.
He does that a lot at a lot of different.
That's neat.
Places. Oh yeah,
yeah. The Bug is cool.
It is. Oh, it's a great venue. It's amazing. Yeah, he was there last year, and I performed on that show as well. And he only did 2 shows last year, and then this year, yeah, he did 5, and then he sold them all out.
Wow.
Wild. Yeah, he's gonna be. He's going places. I mean, he's one of the. It sounds like I'm just kissing his ass, but but it's true. He's like one of the best working comedians I know or have ever seen because he like constantly turns material and not like, there'll be comics that can turn material, but it's not necessarily of quality.
It's half-baked.
Exactly. And he is really good at putting out good quality material on a very fast pace.
Yeah. Has he shared any insight with you on how he does that, how he pulls that off? Because listen, I try, like I sit down and I go to the page and I'm like, come on, brain, like you can come up with something. Like,
well, one thing for him that I noticed what he's really good at, and he's very animated, but one of the things, like he can take any situation that he's in and just make it funny. Like he's not writing jokes.
That's some pro level stuff.
He's just telling stories about things that happened to him. Like he has a bit about going to the doctor, and the doctor's name was Zoltan, and then I'm
already laughing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You don't even. Yeah, and it just stuff like that, like the whole situation, and then the doctor like tried to pitch him a show, and
oh my gosh,
and and it was real awkward because what he was going
Zoltan and Zoltan.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
So yeah, but he just talks about his everyday stuff, and he's just so good at like telling stories and making it really funny.
That's so good.
And like he's really good at like doing like metaphors and descriptions and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, he's like I said, he's a very incredible comic, and I've known him pretty much since I started comedy because I moved out to San Diego right away, and he was already kind of pretty well known in San Diego as a stronger comic, and then he's just kept going and going and going and going.
So where are you from originally?
So I'm originally from South Dakota.
Okay,
But
that's why you
I
have
move
a festival
around
there.
a lot.
Yeah, okay. I see.
I'm hard to catch.
Yeah.
People probably wonder. They're like, "Is he running from something?
Is Dan even real?
Yeah, right. Is he a real person? What is this? He's here. He's there. He's everywhere. Wait, is he? No, no, he's not.
That's just on your sticker. Like,
Could be my new merch. Dan, is he God? Question mark. Or
Where
better
is
yet,
he?
Dan, is he real?
is he real? He's more of an enigma.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it is. I started comedy in South Dakota, but I moved to San Diego like 6 months after I started
When was that?
in like 2011.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been doing comedy for a while.
How long were you in San Diego?
Like 5 or 6, about just under 5 years. It was about 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So my informative years of comedy were in San Diego.
in San Diego, and then you moved here after that?
No, I haven't been here that long either. I just moved
Oh,
here.
really?
I moved here January of 2022. So
What?
I've only been here about 2 years. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I after San Diego, I moved back to South Dakota to work the road. So it was cheaper to live out there.
Totally.
And so I knew I could get more gigs featuring and headlining
totally.
shows. So I did that to, polish my stuff.
Yep.
And then my partner's job took her to Minneapolis. So we lived in Minneapolis for a little bit. And then she took another promotion that brought us to Colorado.
Oh, very
So,
cool.
so I'm just like riding her coattails.
Yeah. Just along for the ride.
I'm just along for the ride.
That's
Like,
pretty cool.
You go wherever
Yeah.
you go, I'll go because I can do comedy.
You're
from
flexible.
wherever.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that's really nice about comedy is you can literally do it anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to, especially with social media and the internet. You don't have to be in LA or New York to be successful.
No, you
know?
can hustle and you can
unless
pave
you
your
want
own
to do
path.
the writing and acting
Right.
portion of it. But if you're just trying to, do comedy and comedy adjacent stuff like
go
podcast or
anywhere.
sketch or whatever, you can pretty much do that from anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
neat.
Yeah.
Wow,
exactly.
that's so cool. Yeah.
Little backstory on me. So yeah, that's how I ended up here. And then, like I said, that's how I knew Zoltan. I've known him for years. So anytime he's like in an area that I'm in, I'm like, hey man, you need an opener? I'll come do it.
Nice,
Because I
yeah.
love working with him too.
Yeah.
He's because not only is he a great comedian, he's just a really great human being. Like
That's the
He's
best.
like one of the nicest people.
That's the
that
best
I've ever met.
Yeah,
so.
because it's nice. It's cool that you're funny, but I like you better when you're a cool guy or a cool person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's one thing you can be funny, but if you're a dick, it's
Like it kind of takes it
takes it away.
deflates you a little bit.
It
Yeah.
definitely does.
Yeah, I
Definitely
hear that.
to get that deflation there.
No, I hear that.
But anyway, so after the show, because I had to drive back, I was starting to feel a little tired. So I was like, well, I'm going to go and stop at the 7-Eleven. And so usually my go-to is spicy nacho Doritos. That's my go-to.
Okay, the spicy ones.
Yep, I usually
Yeah,
go
dude.
spicy nacho.
Very
but they didn't
nice.
have them there, so I think I just went with regular Doritos.
Ah,
Oh, no,
regular.
actually, I didn't go with regular Doritos. What I did is I went with... what did I go with? It was queso flavored Funyuns. I was like, I'm gonna try this new thing.
Whoa, yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Queso flavored Funyuns.
Yeah.
What?
I know. I was like, oh, this is new. I'll try it. So,
Yeah.
I was like, well, they don't have my spicy nacho Doritos,
Dude.
so I'm going this route.
Yeah, sometimes those road snacks, like after a show, when you're just in your car and you're kind of just reaching over and just, just
Yeah,
like, filling
and
your
that's
face.
exactly what it is. I'm
Yeah.
driving home. I'm just like,
Yeah, that's so satisfying. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's the best.
And then I really like those grandma's cookies that you
Oh,
can get at
yup.
convenience stores.
Yeah.
The 2-pack or
Yeah.
whatever. I'll either go the double chocolate or I'll go oatmeal raisin on that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
big
So,
oatmeal raisin guy.
I am an oatmeal raisin
Yeah,
guy.
I like it if I can get some coffee too. Something.
Well, I did have a coffee.
There you go.
I did
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
I was like, I have an hour drive. I'm tired. I need a little boost
Need a
to
little
get me
boost.
home. A little
Yup.
boosty boost to get me back
I feel
home.
that, bro. I drive from Denver to Greeley every Thursday.
I know. How did that happen? Because are you from Greeley?
I'm from Greeley.
Okay.
Yes,
I was gonna say, because you live in Denver now, and you run a show in Greeley every week.
that's right. Yeah, it's awesome, dude. So I'm from Greeley originally, and I did a lot of, that's kind of where I started. So my informative years were Greeley and Fort Collins.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was going to like Hody's before it became the Fort.
Yep.
I was going like there was this mic called Outriders on Thursdays, like in Greeley. So I would go to that. I went to Johnny's Cigar Bar in Boulder back in the day. So those were my spots. And then I did some work. Patrick Richardson used to have a room at the Moxie in Greeley, and it was a monthly show. And that was like one of the first shows I was ever booked on. So that's how I got in touch with like the Moxie. And I started, I would go to the shows there, and then I started working for the Moxie doing security during COVID, which was like a very weird time to be working security at live events.
Not a lot of security going.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, there's like, I mean, it was in Greeley, so we were basically like the Wild West up there.
Oh,
like,
okay. I gotcha.
Yeah, we were still doing
was
stuff.
Still happening.
Yeah, we couldn't. There wasn't like big stuff happening yet, but there was still shows. So I would be working security, and then that's how I just like built more of a relationship there. And then my friend Rudy Garcia was hosting the Stella's show when they opened up in 2021 downstairs, and it kind of changed hands a little bit. Like I was moving to Denver like that year, so it changed hands. Like it went to like Tobias Livingston and Luke Gaston, and then they had a break, and then when they brought it back in October of last year, it was I think it was October. Luke asked Owen Matthews, and then Eli also brought me in, the owner of the Moxie. So Owen and I were running it for a little while, and then Owen kind of like was like, "Here you go." Like,
he was like, "I don't want to do this."
Yeah, which is fair. You know, I get it. So like, and it was the first time we've had a weekly. It was always we were always monthly comedy in Greeley at Moxie or Stella's, and I kind of looked at the calendar. It was right at the turn of the year. And I was like, and we had to cancel a couple of shows due to weather, just because of the crazy season we had. And so I looked at it and I was like, all right, well, if no one's going to do this, like, it's not going to survive. So I'm going to do it. And so I'm like, let's strap in, let's go. And so I just started booking out super far. Like I've been doing it for a minute now. So like, I know all kinds of people from who are working like north and south, like in Denver, the Springs, Fort Collins. Like I know people all over, and so I was like, I have such a wealth of like funny people that I can book, and it's every week. So I'm like, boom, 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 just filling slots everywhere. Yeah. And I've like the growth and like the stuff I've learned in hosting a weekly show like that, and like putting in that work every week, like has been so valuable to me. Like it's been so much fun, and that's pretty much how that came to be. Like, and we just kept doing it, and we've been having good results. So we just keep running things.
That's awesome. It's a great room. It's a fun venue.
Yeah, dude. I'm glad you got to do it.
It's a great spot for it. Cause I was, heard about it or whatever, but I didn't know. You never know, because you're just like, oh, it's in an arcade, so it's like, right. Oh, it's what are they shutting the machines down? Blah blah blah, whatever. All those things go through your head. But there, it's a whole separate room from where the video. Like it's its own room, which is great.
Yeah, that's what.
And
makes
it's a
it
cool
work.
venue. Like, it's a cool spot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what makes the whole thing work. Like if any of the games were like, we shut off the Pac-Man. That's the only game that's in that room, and then we kind of like minimize the amount of distractions that are down there, so I turn off some of the bar lights and stuff like that, and the TVs, etc. And then like it makes for just a really great comedy environment, because there's like some different levels that people can be sitting on. Like it's underground,
it's very close.
It's very close quarters. Like you gotta get comfortable with people next to you. And we try to get people to the front as much as possible. And it takes a little bit to warm up sometimes, but like once you're in it, once you're swinging, like people are rolling, and it's a good time. And the staff is kick ass. Shout out to the staff at Stella's. Like Austin Sutherland is my guy. Like he's always helping me out there and stuff like that. And I couldn't do it without him. So
that's awesome. Yeah, well, like I said, I had a good time. It seemed like it's a good room, fun room, and that's great that it's still going and going weekly, because you never know with comedy. It's so hit or miss sometimes.
I know, dude. Yeah. That's why. Hey, as long as they let me keep doing it, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And
right. And that's good too for like building your own network too, because it's easy to like get to know people and then,
it's the best.
Yep.
Yeah, every week I'm like, who do I want to hang out with? I just bring them up, and we hang out for the show, and like it's a cool experience, because like you're not just like in and out of passing at a mic or something like that. Like everybody drove here to be here, and we're kind of landlocked for a little bit until the show is over. So we get to hang out. Like it's a little bit more intimate. It's a little bit more deeper of connection, I think. And then we all get to experience that show, and that's why I just love shows like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes for great pictures.
It does, dude. That room
looks so cool.
It's so cool.
Pictures.
Yeah, dude. Like I put a lot of thought into that. Like the lighting and everything, like I have them adjust that. We put like some backlighting in there, and then it's got so many good angles because it's such an intimate room. Like I only have a 50mm lens, but I can get up real nice and close to people, and I can get really good shots in between people's heads and stuff like that.
I've seen some of the pictures you've taken, and they look really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
in that room.
that's another little creative outlet that I enjoy. Like I don't pursue photography very much, but like I took advantage of that in this room because I was like, oh, this is fun. Like it's just cool to like take pictures, like, and they turn out nicely for people sometimes. And then when they use them for like show promotions or like Facebook profile pictures or whatever, I'm like, oh, like just warms
like,
my heart.
You did it.
I did something that matters. Cool.
That's awesome.
I helped somebody.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's sweet. Well, let's get into bombing. We've been talking almost 40 minutes,
Yeah,
and
dude.
we haven't even got to the bombing
nice,
yet.
man. Very cool. We're
So yeah,
cooking.
this is it. This is your time to tell a story of a time you bombed.
Okay. Well, I've been performing, like not stand up, but I've been kind of in performance for like most of my life. So like I went to a small school in Greeley, and the advantage of going to a small school is that you can be a part of everything, like because they need you. So they're like,
you need to be the football star. You need to be
Right.
the theater star.
yeah, no, I did sports, but I definitely flourished more in the arts. So like you could say that. So I was in choir, like since I was in kindergarten. I was in like band and like theater and like all these different things. And so like I would say that like my first ever bombing of a performance, it was like one of the first talent shows I ever did at my school. And it was so it's not super comedy related, but it's a fun story. So I was in 4th grade, and so it was like I think it was mostly elementary kids. So we had some singers, like it was mostly singing and dancing. And I was like, I was like, here's what I'll do. I will sing / rap one of my favorite Christian rock songs. And that's not enough. I will do a dance performance as choreography in my Heelies. You know what Heelies are?
I don't.
They're shoes that have a wheel in the heel.
Oh my god!
You've seen those where
I've
you go.
Seen them. I know. Yep.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So you kind of scoot around on your
I
Heelies.
just didn't know that. Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
makes Heelys.
So I just got my brand spanking new pair of Heelies, and I'm like, this is gonna crush. Like this is gonna be so fun. And it was one of my first lessons of like, oh, I did not prepare enough for this, because they made it sound like it wasn't super organized, and like they made it sound like the song was too long, like they were going to cut me off at 2 minutes. So I figured out where that point was, and I went up there with like, I don't have a lot of dancing experience or anything like that. I could sing the song for sure, but it was probably the cringiest moment of my life, if I'm going to be honest, because the stage was like, it was like those these like folding risers that they use for kids, right? So it's like it's got this like corrugated pattern on it that makes it very bumpy. And so I was trying to like Heely on those, and it's like textured and like not good for wheels like at all. And I'm also like out of breath, like I'm like singing the song. By the way, the song was Jesus Freak by DC Talk. That's where I was at that point in my life.
In 4th grade.
In 4th grade, that's what I was listening to.
Jesus Freak.
DC Talk and Toby Mac. Shout out, represent. Switchfoot, where my Switchfoot head's at. So yeah, so I'm singing this and I'm out of breath, and then we get to the 2-minute mark, and I go like this, like cut the like this is my only cool move that I have prepared, and then the music keeps going, and I go, keep dancing until the song is over. And I got off stage, like, I didn't know what happened. Like, I was in 4th grade, so people were like, hey, you know, good job, you tried, you know. But then I got off, like, something had shifted in me where I was like, oh, I don't know what just happened, but I think it was bad. Like, I don't think it went how I wanted it to go. And thus a comedian was born. Like a need for attention was born. Like a need to correct that moment.
Like, I have to fix everything. I need redemption and all the validation.
I need to prove to everybody here that I'm better than this. Like, I can do better. And I'll come back stronger. And yeah, that was like my first ever like bombing performance I've ever had. It was rough. And since then I've had many more. But as far as comedy goes, like I've had plenty of like, you know, rough sets or whatever, but there was one time when it was like, I think it was like November of last year. Stella's was like just barely getting off the ground, and they were also just starting the Ultra Flat Black room in the Springs, which is like it's like an art exhibit, and they have like it's like an art gallery, and they have like a bar there, and they produce shows there pretty frequently now. But it was like one of their earlier shows, and so the owner like invited a lot of his friends there, and like filled the room. Basically, it's a very small room, but I get there and I'm feeling fine, you know, like I'm gonna just do my set. I was only doing like 7 or 5 minutes or something like that, but I watch and I'm third, and so Jake DePizza goes up and he's very punchy and quick, and then Evan, they're playing intro music. I don't know how you feel about intro music for shows.
I think it adds to a show. I mean, it depends on what the intro music. Did they have somebody live playing music?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Like, I think that adds a different element to a show.
Yeah, definitely.
But
so I go up there. Oh, so Evan Joe goes up, and he was doing like a bit where like he would like, let's run it back, let's do it again. Like he would walk off stage, and then they would play his intro music, and he'd come back on stage and just like, you know, like. And that crushed, like that was doing really well. And then I go up there and like, you know, like I feel like for a lot of sets, you can kind of tell within the first couple of moments that you're on stage, like what kind of set you're going to have. Right.
Yeah.
I walked up there and I was like, this is not going to go well. Like this is,
you could just feel it when you came in.
I was like, oh no, dude.
Their energy changed or something.
Yeah. Well, so I picked a song that I really like. It's called Good Ass Intro by Chance the Rapper. And I go up there. I have this bit where I'm like, these are my dance moves. This is when your friend's dog is coming up to you and it's drooling a lot and it's shedding a lot. And you're like, whoa, keep that dog away from me, please. And it's really silly. And so I was like, this seems like a good opportunity to bring that out. And it just did not get the response that I wanted to. Like I was coming up there with so much energy, like so much, and
you were coming in too hot.
I was coming in pretty hot, and I was like, it was kind of a cheesy bit, and it was like, it was kind of corny, and sometimes I'm like that, you know, sometimes I'm corny, sometimes I'm silly, and if you're not into that up top as my opening joke, then it's a rough uphill battle after that. And I just like, I tried to do crowd work, I tried to do my material, like, and they just did not like. And then I did I came from a religious upbringing, so like I have some material about that, and so I like I tried to bring up this bit from the Bible that I have, and that was a risk that I didn't have to take, but I did, and they were like, what? Like, I also didn't have it, like, a lot of stuff is different now than it was then. Mm-hmm. So like, I didn't hone it. I haven't honed as well as I wanted to then. And so like, there was some moments where they were like, you know, like uncomfortable about like the set I was doing. And then I was just like just to no laughs, like nobody like liked my jokes. And so I was just like, well, this has been an educational experience, everybody. Thank you so much. And then I get off stage, and then JJ goes up there and he's like, wow, that was bad. I'm not gonna lie. And then luckily like Wes Williams was headlining and he was able to go up there and bring it home. But he started doing like a lot more interactions with the room and a lot more like crowd work and a lot more like he's very good at like weaving his material into crowd work and into like being present and naming things in the room and stuff like that. So I learned a lot from watching that and from experiencing that. So yeah, it was brutal. Like it wasn't like a ton of people, but like getting off of that, I was like, all right, I need to reevaluate some of the things that I'm doing. Like it was not great. But that was like a showcase. But I also want to talk a little bit about my sets I've done at Comedy Works a little bit. So I did my newbie set like a couple years ago. Like it was probably, I think it might have been like 2016 or something like that. 2016, 2017. I did my newbie set, you do 2 minutes, and I was living up in Greeley at the time. So I didn't, like, I didn't feel like I could keep signing up. And like, like I didn't feel ready. Like my material wasn't turning very fast. And so I felt like, I just didn't have the confidence to be like, I want to be back there like every week,
as soon as I can. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I waited a long time to start signing up again. And when I did, like they would forget about me and I would be back at a newbie set, even though I've already done it before. So you're supposed to be a C set. You're supposed to go from a newbie to a C set and go from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. But I didn't correct anybody. So I just like kept doing it. And so that happened 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And like, this is nobody's fault, by the way. Like this is
for sure.
Yeah. This is just like what happened. And so then finally I moved to Denver, 2021. I've been doing stand-up for 6 years at this point. But I came up in the Fort Collins and Greeley scene. So like, even though it was like, I say like I've been doing it for like 8 years, but really like the amount of reps that I get in Denver compared to when I was living up north is like night and day. You know what I mean? So like, as far as like stage time years, like I'm like more at like 4, you know what I mean? So now like I'm in Denver. I'm like, okay, I'm signing up. Like I don't care what's going on with my material or where I'm at. I'm just going to keep doing it every week until I get up. And so it's my first time back on stage at Comedy Works since moving to Denver. It was like December 2021. And it's my 4th newbie set that I'm doing. And so I go up there and I get 2 minutes. So what do I do? And I think it was one of the clean shows too, because it was like near Christmas time. So they traditionally have like more cleaner comics only sign up during the holidays. So I go up there, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do my dancing bit. And so I do the dogs like coming up to you. I have one where it's like, this is when I learned at work where you're holding a tray, a really heavy tray, and there's some ice on the floor and you sweep that ice into the fridge. Get that ice out of here. It's going to melt and someone's going to slurp. And it's a very fun, like I love doing it. I want to bring it back, but in the right way. Because I have some bits like that where it's just like, this is like very alternative and like not like super set up punchline or whatever, but I enjoy doing it. So if I feel like it's gonna work, if I can tweak it and make it work, then I'm gonna make it work. Yeah. So I did, and like I didn't like get no laughs, but like and then the finale of that bit, the 3-puncher, is when I go, okay, we're gonna cook up a beat now. Cooking up a beat. Cooking up a beat. And then I'm like, all right, we're going to put that beat on a simmer for a little bit. And then I pick up a big thing of plates. There's a lot of improv and act out in this joke. And then I go, everybody take a plate. Everybody take a plate. Everybody take a plate. Everybody take a mother. Oh, should I be doing this without a mask on? Because it was like still 2021. So I got to laugh off of the mask thing. And then it was fine. It went fine. And then I go into the green room. And the notes were just brutal. Like I just got slapped, dude. Like, cause like, and they still thought I was a newbie. Like, cause I never said like, oh yeah, like I've been here before, you know? Yeah. Which is fair. And then, so they were treating my set as if I've never done comedy before. And then the more they asked me questions in like a room full of my peers, like the more they ask me questions, the more it just gets sadder. They're just like, oh, you've been doing this for how long? Oh, okay. Well, do you know you're pretty all like, do you know what you just did? Like, you know, like, and like we basically learned that I need more punchlines in that set. And because like they also count your laughs sometimes and like your LPMs and stuff.
Yep.
So when you hear that out loud, you go like, it could have been a fun set and you had fun, but when you hear like,
when you hear it from an analytical point of view, it's
right,
like,
it kind of is like, oh well, like I got 5 laughs in 2 minutes or something, or whatever it was, you know. And so that was a little bit disheartening, and it was a little bit like brutal. And then my first roast battle, at the roast battles, I went up, and then this was like 4 months later, so this is April, and the comic I was roasting at the time, like we do some simple roasts. I'm also very new and shy still to the Denver scene, like I don't know a lot of people yet, and so he all of a sudden he pulls out a transcript of the notes that happened in the green room, and I'm just like and I'm smiling like I'm having fun, and then as soon as he pulls that out and starts reading that, my face just like sinks, and I'm just like, no, dude, like I can't believe this is happening right now. I can't believe this is.
Also, like, was he the one giving the notes? Like, how did he get the notes?
I don't know. He got information from somebody, I guess.
Obviously.
Yeah.
That's
so
brutal.
yeah, he read those notes, and I just tanked that roast battle so hard. It was at Jester's Palace, like, so it was still early stages of that too. And then I kind of just like, I got my ass beat in that battle. Like, it wasn't even a good battle. Like, it wasn't like any like huge hitters or whatever, but it just got like way too personal too fast. And then I didn't even wait to hear who won. I just like started walking off stage. Like, I just started walking
like,
to the
I don't
back.
even care.
I'm
at this
done.
Point.
Yeah.
This was too mean.
Yeah. Honestly, dude, because it's like something
but you
that was,
keep going back for more.
I keep going back. I keep going back for more. I can't get enough of that. I'm pretty much a masochist at this point.
I'm just going back every time.
Yeah. I mean, it's gotten so much better. Like, and I've grown so much since then. So like, but it was kind of one of those moments where like, it's like all of those different points, like the show, the notes in the green room, and then the roast battle, like those were all moments of like, okay, like this could like defeat me right now. This could like make me want to like not come back to this, or like take a long break before I can get my courage together again. Or it's like, this is something I'm going to remember one day, because I'm going to come back and I'm going to be better. I'm going to get better, and I'm going to be glad that this happened to me, because like it forced me to like wake up a little bit and be like, bro, like the stuff you're doing right now is like, not that it's bad, but like you just got to put more work in.
You got to make it more polished, have those punchlines, do the things.
Right. And, so I learned like, and that's good. Like I would have been more disappointed if I showed up to Denver and then just like never had those lessons learned, because then I would just be doing the same stuff and never have anyone tell me, hey man, like you could be a lot funnier if you just like change a few things, you know, like.
And I think that's important. I think people often overlook that, getting feedback from your peers. I mean, obviously some situations, like when it's a room full of other comics, and if they're super brutal, that's a little harsh. And I've seen like, because I've went and I've gotten notes, and the notes that I've gotten have been fine, but I've seen them give notes to other people, and I was like, damn, that person's almost ready to cry. Like
it stinks. I mean, and like they've gotten better. They've gotten better. Like,
hot.
Yeah, like no disrespect to those guys.
I'm not absolutely not, because I also think that, you know, like I said, giving notes can definitely help improve, as long as whoever's getting those notes is open to that feedback.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and like they've gotten a lot better recently, in the times that I've been back since, and like it's, first of all, it's got to be hard to do that every single week, like to like give those notes out, like to always kind of have that brain turned on, and like you can't just skip somebody, because you can just be like, never mind, like I got nothing to say for your set, like that
might even be worse.
That would be worse. Yeah. Oh, it's just completely unmemorable. Yeah. No, but like you come in, dude, I can't recall.
Get to the name John.
Doe.
John Doe.
What was?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your set. I don't remember it.
Yeah. I got nothing for you, man. Yeah, that would be more brutal, honestly, in a way.
It really would.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess I'll just leave then. but it's gotten better. And someone gave me a piece of advice based off of that recently. They said, like, listen to more of like the tone of what they say and like kind of the vibe that they're going for, rather than the actual like, here's how you should change your set, you know, because it's like, you know, your material more than they do, and you've seen this happen more times in other rooms, so you know what it needs logistically, but they might know what it needs artistically, you know, like something, that piece that you're missing. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And they every time I've been there, they come right off the bat. They're like, don't take these notes personal. Take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
This is just the notes that will help you here.
Exactly.
These may not translate to anywhere else you perform. You know, so they're very upfront with that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is helpful sometimes. And then like, I do appreciate notes from people because I'm trying to learn and grow, you know, like I'm not trying to be completely deaf and blind to my weaknesses and my flaws, because those are things that I want to change, you know, and like, those are things. So like, and the people that I respect, like, and if we have a mutual respect for each other, like, give me a note. Like, I'm cool with that, you know, because we both respect each other. We both are out here working, and we both just want to see each other get better. So like, I got a note at the ABC show, like someone said like, you know, and they were very, very respectful about it. And they were like, I don't want to overstep my bounds or anything, but can I give you a note? And I said, yeah. And it wasn't even like a note about the material. It was like, oh, sometimes you mumble a little bit and it's hard for me to understand you. I'm like, that's a great note, because I don't know that when I'm performing. Like, I'm just doing my thing, and I have been told that before. So it's just like, oh, thank you. Like, I'll work
I gotta
on that.
slow down and try to enunciate better.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
No, that's and that stuff, especially with like ticks and stuff too. That's another thing where, because sometimes people have a tick and they just don't realize it until it's pointed out. I had that.
Yeah.
I used to look down a lot when I was thinking of my next joke, and somebody pointed it out. They're like, hey, do you know that you look down every time you're about to tell a new joke? And I was like, what? And then
That's a good one too.
And then I looked at watched a video or whatever, and then I realized, I was like, oh my God, I do.
Yeah, and sometimes and sometimes those small things
it
can make a
big
difference. Yeah, because
Yep.
you don't even realize because you just feel comfortable.
Yeah, you're
with,
just doing your thing. You're like trying to tell your jokes. And I mean, back then I was still super new, and so I would still be nervous on stage or whatever, but it was more, but once they pointed that out, I was like, oh.
Do you get nervous at all ever?
Sometimes. I mean, not as much as I used to. Like I had to overcome stage fright to do comedy. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a big fear of public speaking. I was never good at it in high school. I auditioned one time for a play. I tanked that audition because I was so nervous. And it was for like one line. Like, it wasn't even like a major part either. Like, I couldn't even get a part of a character that had one line. You know what I mean? And because I was that nervous about public speaking.
Yeah.
And so I had to overcome that. And then, but yeah, as I performed, the more I performed, haven't had as much, problem with, the stage fright or being nervous. But sometimes I do. Like, and I just experienced it when I was at the North Carolina Comedy Festival. I was on this late show and was at the Idiot Box Comedy Club, and like every comic was crushing, and I was the last comic on the showcase.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm the last. I'm closing out this show, and every comic is just bringing heat.
Yep.
It's like one fire set after another.
Yep.
And it was the first time I'd been nervous in a long time, because I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't want to be the one that, like, they've had this awesome show, and then I'm going to come and then if I mess it up, they're going to go, you know what I mean? And then I'm the last one, and I'm the last one, so I'm going to be the one they remember the most.
Yep.
They're like, oh that show was great till that one guy went last. Why'd they let him go last, you know? So I was a little bit nervous about it. But I think that was good, because having those nerves sometimes keeps you humble as well. You don't get you don't get overconfident.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going up and having a great set.
I just ride that energy.
I just ride that energy, ride the wave, and just I crushed. It was great. But up until I got on stage, I was just like, oh
yeah, dude, yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, these guys, everybody's just doing so good. And it just like the show just kept getting progressively better. Like everybody was good, but then the next person would be just a little bit better because they were riding that wave. Yeah. So they were building that energy, and it just kept building, and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, and it's kind of like
this is very stressful.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know, like jumping from like a moving car to another moving car, I guess.
Kind
like,
of. I mean, it's very scary and very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, but it's not a big jump, but if you mess it up, then
but it doesn't take much to mess it up.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
One little slip and all downhill.
Yeah, but if you catch it, then you're flying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So other than that, like I said, it depends on if it's like for a big show. Sometimes I get nervous or whatever, but for the most part, pretty good at not being nervous.
Totally.
Pretty comfortable. Like even like last night, the first show, we had been getting warnings when the show was going to start, and the manager wasn't there for the first show, and somebody else was running the sound, and they didn't tell us they were getting ready to start the show. And so we heard the music cut, and Zoltan, we were in the green room, and Zoltan's like, "Did they just cut the music? Are they starting?" And then we hear him doing the announcements, and I'm like, "Oh, and I had
game time." Yeah,
I'm like trying to turn my lapel recorder on, get my things ready, and like, so it caught me off guard. But I had set was fine. It was it was still good. But even in that moment, like it was like a little stressful because I wasn't ready. I was just like hanging out. And suddenly we're starting the show.
It's cool, like those types of feelings, like when you're doing shows and stuff, like it's what makes it exciting. It's what makes it a journey. It's like you're not always just like, oh, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna crush, like you're like you get those like little moments where it keeps you humble and it keeps you working, and so you're not stagnant, because then when you feel that, it's like, oh, like what can I do to continue to prepare so I feel confident again, like, and then that keeps you moving, that keeps you churning stuff out, so you never get like complacent with just like, this is my set, like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it's very easy to go down that path to just keep showing up and like, I'm just gonna do my same jokes at this open mic.
I mean, I'm still doing that same, like, I'm doing material that I have on my album a little bit and going through that exact thing where I'm like, well, I got to try to get some new material, and then Thursday I opened up a little differently than I had been, because I'm trying to build something new, and it wasn't like terrible, but it wasn't great. So then the next show, I was like, all right, I'm going to start opening the same way because I know it's working until I have something that I can put in that place. Yeah. But I did try some new material within that 10-minute set. So I think I did a different set every day. I mean, some of the jokes were overlap. Some of the jokes were the same, but it was a different set because I didn't do the same jokes.
Yes.
And through the whole set, like I had a couple staples that I did, but I threw in some other things that weren't.
These are the jokes to prove that you can trust me and I'm funny. Yep. And this is the stuff I'm working on.
Yep.
Like,
exactly.
Totally.
Yep. So every set was a little bit different in that regard. And some of the stuff that I'm working on, because it's new, obviously it didn't like crush, but it definitely has legs, and I was able to see it by doing that. I was like, okay, so this needs a little bit of work. It needs some more polishing, but there is something here.
There's something here. If I keep working
when
it,
I think about it, to me it's a funny concept, but then you say it out loud and you get a little bit of a response. You're like, okay, so definitely it has something. You just got to get it to where it gets a bigger response.
And I think there's something about like doing something like a joke, like there's something about like when you work it and you get reps in, like you may not even like change it that much, but like just getting those reps under your belt,
and just practice saying it,
and then it flows better, and then all of a sudden like you have more confidence behind it, and you say it like with like, here is this awesome joke I've been working on, and you say it, and then all of a sudden it hits, like I have a joke that I've been working on like recently where it's like I did it last night, and it's like it's very physical, and it's like not a whole lot of like words, like there's not like it hasn't had very much tweaking, but I've practiced it like a couple more times, and then I found where it fits neatly into the set, and then I just flow right into it, and then all of a sudden like it's working, like all of a sudden it's getting results.
You're getting it tuned in,
right,
and comfortable. Like you said, comfortable telling the joke.
Yep.
Which is huge. I mean, if you're not comfortable, that's why jokes that when you don't have confidence in the joke, they don't land. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
because
and that's
I think this is funny.
but,
You guys might
maybe?
like it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I do plenty of those too.
oh, I do too. Yeah. When I say
Yeah.
you, that's a generalization of all comedians.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We all do it.
We all do
it.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you kind of talked a little bit about your writing process, but and obviously you're very, just by talking to you, I can tell that you're self-aware. You're trying to learn. You're trying to grow. You're trying to get better as a comedian. So how do you analyze yourself and your sets, and what do you try to pick from them so that you are improving and preventing things, bad sets from happening?
Well, watching tape is great. I film every set I do at Stella's, and I've been working on actually watching them a little bit more. That's
so hard.
That's the hardest one for everybody. Yeah,
like a 4 terabyte
backlog.
hard drive, just full of hours. Like right now, I think it's like little over half full. Just videos from the last I don't know, 7 years.
Yeah, dude, it adds up quick too.
And I haven't watched hardly any of it.
Yeah, it just adds up so fast, and then it's like, oh man, I forgot to watch all of this all of a sudden. Sorry, I just got distracted by your phone.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, why is my phone? Usually it doesn't do that.
So I watched film, and there's something about that definitely helps. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know any statistics, but I heard from somewhere that for sports, if you do mental reps and you imagine yourself shooting the shot and making the shot or whatever it is, then you will do it better the next time that you do it, as opposed to somebody who didn't do that. And I feel like that's true for comedy as well. If visualizing is good, but also watching your sets, there's something about watching your sets where you just you're just more self-aware, and then you understand more of your tics and your patterns, things that you repeat a lot, filler words that you use a lot, and and things like that.
So I'm awful on that. And it's funny too, for me, it's more the word and it's got to the point where I hate the word, and anytime I hear anybody else use
you're super aware of it.
I'm super aware of it. And it's not anything on them, it's because I'm super aware of it that I do it.
Yes.
And now I'm annoyed that anybody does it.
The things that we criticize in others are the things that we criticize about ourselves.
Yep, that's exactly it. Yep. I will 100% admit it's coming from inside.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. So that's a good one. Dude, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out, just like everybody else. I just do what I can. I've been recently, I listen to sets a lot more. I watch sets a lot more. I keep track of I write every set down, and then I've been keeping track of how many I do monthly. So I dedicate one page in my notebook to these are all the sets I did in August.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and just looking at that gives you just that little boost of confidence.
For sure. And having I find it good too to have some sort of data. I just picked up the gig diary that a friend of mine put together.
Oh.
And it's a really cool book, and I can show you off camera, but it's a really cool book that is out there where you can put in your set list, there's all the information about the show that you're doing, so it's a good way to keep track of your shows. But even before that, my friend put this book out. Shout out Wendy, Mayberry.
Yeah, nice.
We've talked about her gig diary on this podcast before, a couple episodes ago. But anyway, even before she put that book out, I was already doing something similar to that, where I had a planner that I used. I wasn't as intense as what she put together, but I used a planner, and I would put information about the show. It'd be am I headlining? How much time am I doing? What did it pay? How far did I have to drive? Info like that.
Yeah.
So then at the end of the year, I can go in and I was counting it, and I'm like, oh, so this year I performed 32 hours of stand up, and I made this amount of money.
Whoa.
And then the next year it's I performed only this amount of hours, which was less than the year before, but then I made more money. You know what I mean? Things like that. So I could really see it was now I'm performing more, as I'm getting better, because I'm performing less and making more money, and that's because I'm headlining more.
Yes.
Getting better paying gigs and stuff, with that.
Yeah.
So
it's just a great way to track your progress.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it is good.
It feels good. It feels, because feeling like you're progressing keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially, like, I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but like for me, especially, like if I feel like right now I got these, I have one old joke that I'm just pulling out of the archives that works well with this new premise, and then the new joke that I just talked about. Put those together. Oh, all of a sudden I got a new bit. Like all of a sudden I got a new little like minute and a half or whatever. But that is enough for me to be like, all right, my material feels fresh still.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like I'm getting tired of this. Like I enjoy performing because I look forward to it. Gives me a little bit of excitement because like I don't know if it's gonna go well or not, but it like kind of just like keeps me in rhythm and flow, and like it keeps me inspired to like keep going to the mics and like keep, you know, because like the second I feel like tired of the stuff I have, then that's when I'm like, oh, I don't want to go out. Like I don't want to tell the same joke tonight. Cause like, you know, but once I have something to work on that I feel inspired by, that's when, and it starts to work, and I feel myself just inching forward, then it's like, oh, I feel, I keep going, and it snowballs. Like it continues, like success breeds confidence, and like it keeps going. And same with the opposite is true as well. So I try to just keep my head above that and just like, you know, don't take things too seriously. Like if something goes poorly, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't define you as a comedian, you know, like it's just one set, and then like take something away from that and listen to the film. Like what was it that maybe there was a tipping point of why it didn't go well. Like maybe you tried to do crowd work or something, and then like, oh, I shouldn't have talked to that lady or whatever.
Or
like,
shouldn't have talked to any of them.
shouldn't have talked to, should have just stuck to the script a little bit. Or like maybe you like, sometimes I forget. Sometimes like I get stuck at like certain gaps in the material. You know, like it's like, oh, these all flow together really well. This one is kind of like a jump in material, like a weird segue.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I'll pause. Like I'll be like, oh, what was the next thing? And then I think of it, and then okay, now we go into it. So things like that. And then just reps, like
getting up.
Yeah, just getting like, dude, like having the room at Stella's, like it's my little sandbox. Like anybody, like it's so low stakes, but it's like it's such a great.
Well, it's a great opportunity to like work your material or try new things too, because
10
obviously because you're doing it every week, so you know, and you probably get some return people, and it's like, oh, I want to try some different things,
right.
I want to try to keep it somewhat fresh for them.
Exactly.
So definitely challenges you.
It challenges me. Yeah, and it doesn't always go like I'm going up to a cold room every week as a host. So, you know, not every set is a banger. I watch my sets. I try to get like clips and like good stuff to post, and I'm just like, like
no thanks.
Not this one. Yeah. But like, but I still enjoyed it. Like I still had fun. And then like my job is not to crush as the host. My job is to get everybody in the right spot so that other people can do well and succeed after me. And that takes a lot of pressure off of me too. Cause then it's just like, I can come up with like, these are my new things I'm working on. I'm going to try them out for you. I might glance at my notes a little bit here and there, but it's super valuable. Like it's like, because I do get, like you said, like you get a little time feedback and you're like, perfect. Like I know that's got something.
There's something there.
If I continue to work it, if I continue to get those reps, it will get there eventually. So, and then just like, try to just pushing forward really. Cause like, there's really no like trick or like, there's really no one thing that I do. It's just like, I just sit down. It's like, all right, I know I want to do something. So what are some things that I can do? I can listen to my set. I can write. I can try to write out, like, even though I've performed this joke 100 times, or like I've written it out like a couple of times, if just write it out again. And then all of a sudden, like, as you're typing it or longhand writing it, all of a sudden, like you think of a new thing, and it's just like, oh, just keep writing, just keep going. And then it might be trash, but like it might be something that you like, and it continues to go on into the act. So Jerry Seinfeld says, just work.
Just work.
Just work. Because that's why everybody asks, what can you do? What's the trick to be funny? And it's like, just work. Just work. Just keep at it. Keep at it. Keep expressing creatively. Like I just launched a new podcast too. shameless plug.
Well, it's not shameless plug if you don't actually say what it's called.
Fair enough. It's called Stretch Yourself.
Okay.
I was prefacing that this is about to be a shameless plug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like I just started a podcast and a shameless plug. I was like, what? Well, are you going to talk about it?
It's actually called Shameless Plug. That's actually kind of brilliant.
It really is.
It's like naming your restaurant like what you decide or something like that. Yeah. It's called Stretch Yourself, Stretch Yourself podcast. It's all about pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, stretching yourself beyond your comfort zone. And it's not comedy exclusive. Like I've had 2 film folks on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, some film guys I know from school and from college, and who are just working guys who are very talented at what they do and have a lot of knowledge about the industry. And I just interview like creative folks and comedy folks. I want to start getting some business folks on there too, because I just want to learn all about it. Because I feel like that's such a human experience, and it's interesting. It's because everybody goes through it. Everybody. It doesn't matter what you're involved in. It doesn't matter what you do. There are moments where you hit a wall and you're like, I really don't want to do this right now, but I have to, or I want to, and I'm going to do it. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel super weird. And then you go out and you do it. It's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. And then your growth explodes after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what led to this podcast. Is like, everybody does it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Even outside of comedy. I mean, you fail at all kinds of different things in
Absolutely.
life, so.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get wrapped up. I'm gonna quick one of your favorite gigs that you've ever done, and then we have the Art of Bombing playlist. What's a song that you would add to the playlist? It's the Get Pumped. Doesn't have to be a song that gets you pumped for comedy. Just a song that gets you pumped.
Okay.
Is it gonna be Jesus Freak? Because that's really.
It's and that's actually the whole reason I'm here, Dan, is to put Jesus Freak on your playlist.
I knew it.
Yes. Favorite gig?
Yeah, favorite gig that you've done.
That I've done. There's like, man, I don't know why that's such a hard question all of a sudden. I have really enjoyed sets at the Fort. Always love going there. I really enjoy my room at Stella's. Sorry, I'm just like like what because I like a lot of stuff, like I can't. I'm trying to think. Oh, so one of my all-time favorite sets was, so I'm going to UNC. I'm like a sophomore. I had just joined a fraternity there, and so it's my first like semester in this fraternity, and I'm doing stand-up. I've been doing it for like 2 years at this point, and there's a talent show, not a talent show. There's a freshman opening night. So like all the freshmen just freshly moving in, and I don't know if they still do it, but they would have a comedy night. So like I think when I moved there, like when I moved in, it was Beth Stelling was.
Oh wow.
Yeah, was opening at UNC, or was headlining at UNC, and I don't even know if she had an opener or not. But this year it was Pete Lee, and the talent coordinator asked if I would open.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, and like I was just like so blown away, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I go, and I'm brand new to this fraternity, so like a bunch of my fraternity folks came, like a bunch of sorority.
That's a lot of pressure.
it was, but it was also kind of like time to be a rock star, like time to like, and I was barely into it, but like at the same time, it was like, sink or swim. Like I'm not gonna hold back. I'm not gonna be nervous or shy.
No, I gotta do this.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this, and it's
myself.
gonna be awesome. Yeah. So and it was freshman orientation night. So like all like the entire freshman class basically was in the ballrooms at UNC. So like very big crowd, like maybe like 300 or something like that. And then I did like 13 minutes maybe. And I just to like look down and like see like some of my buddies, like some of my favorite friends, like just like like you know, kind of doubling over, like oh my, like it's just so cool, you know, because they're seeing me do like I'm like, yeah, this is for real, like this is not, I'm not just messing around, you know, like this is something I've been working on for a while, and I had a very fun set. I did pretty good, and Pete Lee gave me a shout out when he opened his set, and you know, give it up for Jared, everybody, you know, and it was just a very cool thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
It was fun. A song that gets me pumped up. It's my go-to song to get me pumped up. It's "Dreams and Nightmares" by Meek Mill.
All right, perfect. That's what's going on the playlist.
Awesome.
Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram. It's @ Jared Chandler. And I'm on TikTok. It's like Jared Chandler 7 or something like that. And I try to post. I'm trying to get better about posting clips and things like that on there. And then you can find me every Thursday at Stella's Pinball Arcade and Lounge in Greeley, Colorado. Every Thursday at 9, I bring my favorite funny folks to Greeley, and we put on an excellent show for you guys. And we Northern Colorado folks, come out, like have some fun. It's a great time.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me. This was fun. Appreciate it.
This has been a Dan Bublitz comedy production. Roar.